Hello and welcome back. I am en route between Grand Tetons and Boise, Idaho. I drove about 2.5 hours to get here and I have about 2 more to go to Boise. And I heard about this beautiful waterfall called Shoshone Falls. I believe that's how it's pronounced. And so I decided to take a quick little detour and come see what I think they have nicknamed the Niagara Falls of the West. It was interesting as I was walking up here because I thought that I had mislabeled this the Niagara of the West because, as you can see, like the water is just so minimal that typically all along this white rock is pouring water, but it's obviously been quite a dry year. But they did show pictures of how it does look very similar to the Niagara Falls. It's just very, very dry this year. But this is 212 feet high and 950 feet wide. So this is quite a beautiful area, and they said that unlike Niagara Falls that is built with a lot of commercialism, this is pretty into nature and there's just a little bit of walking area around here, so it's really pretty to see. But unfortunately they just don't have the water that Niagara Falls has as a full-time thing. Something I wanted to point out real quick was if you go further up this way, it's about a 15-minute drive from here, is actually where Evel Knievel actually attempted to cross the Snake River. He was unsuccessful in doing so, but you can see this immense gap here. You can only imagine what that must have been like. I think that was back in 1974, but that is nearby if you would like to go and see that. I am now in Boise, Idaho. And while this is a beautiful spot to show the downtown area and some of the mountains in the background, as you see, it is so smoky and you can hardly see anything. So this is really frustrating, but I at least wanted to kind of show you this really pretty area that I have to welcome you to Boise, Idaho. So I am standing kind of above the city just a teeny tiny bit at a really pretty area for this view on a nice clear day. And it is at an area called the Boise Depot, which you will see here in just a second. And this was actually the train station that they had here, and that kind of serviced the whole area. And so it's a really cool building. It's done in a Spanish colonial style architecture. It's only open Sundays and Mondays, or at least right now, for several hours that you can go in and kind of take a tour. But one thing I wanted to show was that this is the front with the Boise Depot, and then in the background, let me see if I can point it out right here somewhere, is the Capitol building. And they said that they did that on purpose to have this as a direct link for when this was all built up. So this is a really nice place just to come and see a little bit of history, as well as a great view of Boise on a clear day. This building that's here behind me is a library, and right outside here is this area that is the Idaho Anne Frank Memorial. And they kind of talk about how Anne Frank was more inspiration for this. This isn't necessarily just about a Holocaust memorial, But this is all kind of talking about her legacy and how we never want to repeat kind of some of the things that we have found ourselves in with history. This area that is right here actually does have a statue of her peeking out before she would have been captured in Amsterdam. And so this part is about her, but they also go on to this area that is back over here. And this is about someone who was in the Idaho government who made a really big impact. And so this is representing him, as well as things that were in Bosnia during their problems, Rwanda and things like that. Just all the problems that we've been having with racism. And so this is just really trying to avoid having future problems. This little thing that is right there, that little white thing, they have little audio guides that you can listen to. And they said if you listen to all of them, it takes about 40 minutes, but you can just kind of walk around the area and get a little bit more information about what all this is. But like I said, this is just downtown, right beside the library here. And this is just a really nice and peaceful place just to relax and kind of learn a little bit about history and see kind of what they have represented here. This area that's here behind me where you see a cyclist is the Boise Greenway, and it's really nice as it goes along the river, which you can't see but is behind that area right there. And it is for cyclists, bikers, joggers, walkers, whatever you would like. This is just a really nice path that goes on either side of the river and goes pretty far. I'm not sure the actual mileage of it, but it's just a really nice place to kind of walk along and enjoy the river as it's right beside you. Good morning. I am up on an area called Camel's Back Trail, and this is going to be where I watch the sunrise. And so I kind of wanted to just tell you about this little trail real quick. It's about 7 to 8 minute drive from downtown, so not far at all. And where I parked and then walked up here is maybe about a 3 or 4 minute walk. So it's very simple and easy to get up here, but it does provide a really beautiful view of the rolling hills in the background, as well as the downtown area and just kind of the valley of Boise. Unfortunately, it is still quite smoky, and I'm so sorry. This is so frustrating that almost all of my videos right now are of a lot of smoke. You can hardly see anything, but there's nothing I can do about that. So I still wanted to at least watch the sunrise from here and show you this really beautiful view from Camel's Back Trail. I'm standing in an area called the Freak Alley Galley, and it's really cool. This is right near the Capitol building, but it's a couple of different streets here that they have converted into people coming and being able to get paid to do graffiti. And so this is just a parking lot, but they also have, like I said, the whole alleyway that is filled with graffiti and art and stuff like that. So this is a really cool area just to come and walk around and look at some really unique graffiti. This area that I'm walking around is called the Hyde Park area. It's exactly 1 mile from downtown. And it's really cool. It's very historic. They have some buildings from 1902, and they have little placards and stuff that you can learn more about the buildings that are here. And it's just a really, really beautiful, fun area to walk around with coffee shops, old ice cream stores, restaurants, bars, and all kinds of things. It is smaller, so less parking and things like that, but it's also not as crazy to find parking as downtown where you have to pay for parking. This area behind me, Jump, is for Jack's Urban Meeting Place, and I'm not really sure what it is actually. They have kind of some big fun colors and almost, I don't know, bouncy house type things, but this whole area here is actually really, really cool as it's very peaceful, but they've also kind of set up this rotating pictures here for families and things like that, as well as like some fun colors. And I don't know if you can hear the music in the background. But yeah, this whole area here is just really cool. It's right off the beaten path, really easy to find and just kind of sit down, relax, and enjoy, as well as come and see this jump area. Something I really like with Boise is how much they appreciate the arts, not just art, but music. I saw a ballet studio and all the graffiti and things like that. And that's just really cool to see a city that really promotes kind of outdoor awareness, arts, and even this path that I'm on right here is called the Pioneer Path, and it connects the Greenbelt to that jump area and just provides a nice little area that you don't have to be on the street. So very walkable city, and I appreciate that a lot. Something really interesting to point out about Boise is this building right here is a Basque Cultural Center. You can actually go in and learn about the community that's here, but there is actually one of the biggest Basque communities in all of the US is here in Boise, Idaho, which is so surprising. I don't know if you know where Basque country is, but it's actually between the south of France and north of Spain. And it's this very, very tiny community, and for them to have such a vibrant community here in Idaho of all places is quite bizarre. But this whole block here is actually just devoted to them and their culture. So this is really, really unique to see. So I'm standing outside of the State Museum right here, and it is a lot bigger and a lot more involved than I realized. I thought, oh, okay, it's just this little area, and then I kind of went around a corner and there was another area, and it wound up being a lot bigger than I thought. And I was gonna try to explain, oh, they have this department and that department, but let me actually just go ahead and show you what they have with a little bit of background music, because it's just way too much to show you with words. In addition, they have this little area that's here behind me, and it is a pioneer village. I'm not quite sure how to get in there. I don't know if it actually is a part of the State Museum, but regardless, I didn't see anyone walking around here, and everything is kind of blocked off. But they do have this right here. They have little areas, little signs, such as this one right here, that does explain a little bit more about all of these, so I'm sure you could probably read these as you walk by. But yeah, this is just a really cute little area. I'm going to continue walking down just a few more steps and show you another thing that's also right here on the property that is really, really impressive. A little bit difficult to see, but that building right there is where I just was, and then the Pioneer Village is right here. So just a little bit further down is this museum right here, the Idaho Black History Museum. It's a little church that actually used to be a legit church, and once you kind of go inside, you learn a lot more about the history of Black people here in Idaho, and it's a lot different than they have in other states, and it's really fascinating to see. And it's really small inside, but they kind of have enough to really pack a punch for the information. What's really, really cute about this is that the guy who works in there actually was pointing out a couple of things. Oh yeah, right there, that's my great-grandfather. They came from here and they settled here, and this is my family roots. So it's kind of unique because while it's talking about Blacks in Idaho and stuff, there was a very personal tie to the guy that is running this right now. They do have unique hours, so I'm going to show the hours that they currently have as well as a phone number. Their website isn't the best, but I know the guy is really trying to keep that updated as much as possible. But this is a really great area to learn about Blacks in the area, the Pioneer Village, all about Idaho, and kind of in some ways some of their forward thinking that they had with refugees, immigration, women's rights to vote, and things like that. This whole little area is very, very impressive. One thing that I am not doing, but I will show you, is somewhere back here is the zoo. So you can also visit this. You can park here and go to all these museums and kind of just really appreciate this whole area. You might recognize the guy here behind me. It's Mr. Abraham Lincoln. And it's really interesting as there's a couple of statues of Abraham Lincoln around the city here. I saw one at the Capitol building, and this is right outside those museums that I was just showing you. And it's just kind of interesting because they have such a source of pride for him in a way that the rest of the US does not. Basically, he was the one that signed the Idaho Territory into existence, which is interesting because back then it was the 3 states of what we have now, Montana, Wyoming, and Idaho. And he was the one that created this whole area, and so they have a source of pride for him. But I thought I'd go ahead and say goodbye here with Mr. Abraham Lincoln in the background and just say that at first when I drove into Boise, especially with the smoke, I kind of had a hard time connecting and was like, I don't know about this. But as I got out and walked around and got to see a lot of the little nuances that are here and the charm, the history of buildings and how they've kind of preserved different things here, I really enjoyed Boise and my time here. So if you get a chance to come, I do recommend it. It is a smaller capital city, kind of reminded me a little bit of Hartford, Connecticut from when I was there. But regardless, I really enjoyed my time here, and I guess I'll have to come back when it's a lot clearer and see it all over again. But until then, I will see you in the next video.